What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome back to MKO Boxing, aka MKO Pugilism, where we talk all things boxing. Remember to like and subscribe on YouTube, follow on TikTok, and all that good stuff. So, yeah, let's talk about it. Ben Shalom has finally he's got himself a broadcasting deal, TV deal, and there's been a lot of question marks about Ben Shalom. A lot of people kind of making fun of him because he lost the Sky deal, and at this moment in time, the place where it's at in as far as boxing goes internationally and nationally here in the UK, the place to go really is DAZN. DAZN is the streaming platform which is kind of showing most of the big fights, and you've got the two biggest promoters from the UK on DAZN. So that's where you want to be really. And Ben Shalom was on his own there in Sky for a while, and that contract came to an end, and there was a while where he was in limbo. I heard rumors of him going on to the red button on BBC iPlayer. There was a lot of people sort of making jokes and making statements about that, and it turns out that there is some truth to it, because he went on Talk Sport yesterday. They did an interview there, and he said now basically BBC is going to be the ones who are broadcasting the boxer fights from now on. And ironically, it does include access on the red button on BBC iPlayer. So you're going to be able to view boxer shows on BBC. They didn't specify whether it's BBC One or BBC Two, but he just specified that it will be on one of those channels, either one or two, one of those BBC channels, and you'll also get to watch it on the iPlayer on the red button. So yeah, as far as exposure goes, it's a good thing. I think BBC is a platform where you're going to get a lot of eyes on the sport. From what Ben Shalom was saying, the boxing programming will go just before match of the day on whatever Saturdays it's on. So he didn't really give us a number in terms of how many shows. I've heard rumors that it's only going to be 4 shows a year, but that's not sort of set in stone as well as far as what he's said. But what you're going to have is you're going to have shows on BBC, one of their channels. You'll access them on the red button as well. There are sort of a few caveats to it. The good news also on it is that you're going to get Fraser Clark versus Jamie TKV, who had the unfortunate incident with David Adelaide where he was told to break, and Adelaide had the free shot, took him out. So you're going to get those two, Fraser Clark versus Jamie TKV. They're going to be fighting for the British heavyweight title, which will sort of open proceedings for Boxer. But Ben Shalom did mention something regarding sort of his stars and the bigger names that he's got, such as, the Adam Azims, guys like Ben Whitaker, and their sort of other names that are more well known. He mentioned that they're not gonna do the pay-per-view stuff on the BBC platform. So obviously there's only a certain budget. So the way he was talking seemed to suggest that what's gonna be on this BBC deal is gonna be sort of their lower tier guys. They're guys that are not the sort of bigger names that demand the bigger money. These are going to be sort of guys that are a bit lower down the pecking order, because he said that they're still going to be working with other platforms, which I assume he can only mean DAZN really, because I think they're, now that Sky's out of it, TNT's out of it, so it can only really mean DAZN. So the Shalom was saying that basically you're going to still have to pay for pay-per-views on other platforms. So I guess he'll probably still work with Turkey Al Sheikh, or perhaps do things on his own with DAZN, do some sort of deal there where he can get the bigger fighters, the fights that deserve a pay-per-view, go on there, sort of thing. So yeah, it's interesting. It's good in the sense that you will get content on there. You will get BBC. Everybody's got it. All you need is a TV license and you've got it. It's popular. Everyone watches BBC at some point. So yeah, you're going to get more exposure for Ben Shalom there. But I think the bigger fighters, they may have to, sort of go elsewhere or whatever for the pay-per-view. So you might, it's one of them where I would say from what I'm hearing, there's no guarantee that you're gonna see sort of those bigger stars like a Ben Whittaker on this BBC thing. It's probably gonna be the guys lower down based on, sort of the budget being lower from BBC, and those guys will want to be on a pay-per-view and stuff. So that might be a little catch with it, but it's one of these things where we'll have to sort of wait and see, and see the first show, Fraser Clark, Jamie TKV, see what happens there, see who features on the undercard, and sort of judge it from there. But that's what I've heard so far. I think it's good for Ben Shalom. At least BBC is probably the most well-known platform in the UK, in the country. So good news for him. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, and until next time, it's MKO Boxing, over and out.